Here are 9 secrets that help me to build a 6-figure portfolio and how you can too. Now remember, this is not financial advice. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and I'm just here trying to shed some light on my own personal experiences, some things that help me out, and hopefully I can help you as well. Okay, let's get into it. You have to understand your why. It's the most important thing. Now, my why started in the 2008 housing crash. Basically, my whole family lost everything, basically, and we lost our family home. And it was a very painful experience. So I hope to never let my future family go through a pain like that ever again. But as painful as it is, it's actually a blessing in disguise, because that pain is the fuel for my success, and it's the fuel for me to go further. And I want to, in a way, remember that and remember what that feels like, because it's very painful, but it's also fuel, right? So remember that. So your pain and your fuel and your suffering can be like your greatest asset, right? But you have to remember your why. Why do you want to grow? Why do you want to build wealth? Is it to take care of your family? Is it so you don't have to have that pain again? Is it just so you can, not stress? Figure that out, because that will guide you throughout your whole journey. And that's what it is. It's a journey. The next point is living below your means and investing the difference. Now, no matter what you do, whether you're self-employed or if you work a job, you have to invest. Over long periods of time, it always works out. Now, when I was driving Uber, working construction, teaching music, doing various side jobs, I was always putting money in stocks, always putting money to work, always trying to live below my means. Basically, my whole life, I've never had like a huge income. I've made an average income, maybe around $4,000 a month, sometimes less, sometimes a little more, but like very average. And basically always living below my means and investing for a long period of time, doing options, doing stocks, right? So compound interest and time, that will carry you, but you need to live below your means and invest the difference. That's a huge point. Okay, the next payment. Car payments destroy you. I'm literally sitting in a 2015 Toyota Corolla with 278,000 miles on it. And I used to drive Uber. That's why there's so many miles on it. So I drive Uber, teaching music. I'm always driving to people's houses, doing just side things. This car, I've driven, near 300,000 miles on it. So basically driving this thing to the ground. Now, I could have easily gotten another car, make more payments, start the payment cycle again. It's paid off. Insurance is low. I'd rather keep it like that. I don't need a fancy car right now. Later will be the time to get maybe something nicer. But for right now, just going to fix it up, maintain it. I'm good with this. Like, payments are so low. If it gets dinged up a little bit, it's not even a big deal. So it really makes a lot less stress in my life to not have that extra payment. That can be money that's invested in stocks, or just to have less overhead over my life. So car payments destroy you, okay? It's a trap. It's a big trap. That's huge. Okay, next point. You need to take risks in life, calculated risks. Things are not as risky as they seem, and most people think of risk is only what they're potentially going to lose, but they never think of the reward. We're wired to think more of the risks of loss than the risk of reward, right? The opportunity costs, right? So if you were in Vegas and you were playing a roulette game, right? Now, if you put it all on red, right? You put $100 on red, you got about a 47% chance of hitting, you double your money, okay? So the risk is that you lose your money. The gain is that you win that money. Now, if the odds were paying 10 to 1, so if you lost, you lost $100, but if you won 1,000, you would take that bet every day. Every day you would take that bet, because the risk, the reward outweighs the risk so much. So people, I can't tell you how many times I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, I've, with deaf ears to my friends, family, people, like invest your money. Like, people are so afraid to lose money because they don't understand it. They don't understand the power of investing long term, when actually the real risk, the real actual risk is holding cash that they literally print out of thin air, gets devalued to inflation, right? People will just buy random things without doing any research, like buying a TV. They'll buy a TV without doing any research. It'll cost, a few $100s, which depreciates instantly, right? Now you get to use that TV, but even then, that's even a bigger risk, because it's actually taking your time, which is a finite resource, away from you. So that TV costs a lot of time, and it costs a lot of money up front, and so but they won't put their money in stocks, like people like don't realize what they're doing, because they just it's just kind of weird. I don't know. So that's how I think about that. Okay. The next point is to play with a compound interest calculator. It will blow your mind. Okay? Let's pull one up right here. We're going to go here. Watch this. Okay. If you had $10,000, you put it in, let's say, investment, right? Now, these numbers, they're just kind of made up. And remember, this is not financial advice, of course. So, $10,000. Look at this. If you put for 30 years, which that time is going to pass anyway. That time is going to pass, right? 30 years, $10,000. Calculate. Look at this. $10,000 in 30 years turns into $174,000 with zero contributions, okay? So now, back to one of our first points about living under your means so that you could put money in stocks. Let's say you only put $500 a month, right? Which is basically your average car payment. So let's say you did that. Watch this. $1.16 million from $10,000 starting, $500 a month for 30 years at basically a 10% interest rate that you're getting, roughly. Now, that's roughly what the market gets. You should be beating the market in this day and age with all the information out there. It's just 10%. You should be able to get that in your sleep, essentially. Now imagine this. Play around with it. Watch this. If you put $1,000 in, $1,000, you just doubled $2.1 million. Okay? Now get this. This amount, let's see here. Let's see if hypothetically you got a 12% interest rate. Look at this number, how it jumps. 3.1 from just a little minute change over a long period of time. Not to mention if you already started with $100,000. All right, $6 million. So potentially I might have like $6 million in 30 years. Or maybe more. I don't know. But the point is, play with a compound interest calculator so that you can see what is possible. What is possible, right? Imagine putting $5,000 a month. Like, just an average Joe. I mean, you have to have a pretty good income. $17 million. Right? Like, I'm just saying. Let's say we get 20% returns here. I'm going to have $94 million in 30 years with these numbers. I'm not saying I will. That would be ridiculous. But imagine, right? So you want to unlock your brain. You want to unlock your brain to think that something is possible, right? Something will happen. But you know what will happen if you don't put money in the stock market? You will get eaten away to inflation, right? And then your future generations will suffer. So that, just play with the compound interest calculator. That, I think, just do that. Okay. Another point here is that wealth is built through ownership. You need to own things that produce, right? Stocks go up over time because they are businesses that actually produce and make money, right? They're also printing money out of thin air. Thin air, they are printing money, so we need to park our money in things that go up in value, whether that's devalued because they're printing more money, or basically they produce, right? So if inflation, let's say, is 5%, which it's higher than that, but they just say let's say it's 4%, 3%, 5%, whatever. If a business is making 20% a year, for example, like a growth name, their income is growing 20%, they're outpacing inflation, right? Essentially, that's like a very simple way to think about it, is that you want to be in things that outpace inflation. If you're getting a 5% return and inflation is 5%, your actual gain is basically zero. That's like your real gain, because inflation versus the nominal amount that you gained, right? So you want to outpace inflation, which is that's the game. Outpace inflation, right? So this is the point. I literally said this already. They literally print money out of thin air. Inflation is actually good for assets because they go up in value when we get inflation, right? The people who get screwed the most are the people with no assets, okay? So if you don't want to get screwed by not having assets, what do you have to do? You have to get assets, right? Now, that doesn't have to be stocks. It could be crypto. It can be real estate. It can be, a railroad and a train. I don't know, like, that's an asset. But having a railroad is not feasible because it's very expensive. Real estate is very expensive. And it's like impossible to get nowadays. So the easiest thing that we can wrap our head around as just like an average person is stocks. Crypto is very risky, but Bitcoin, Ethereum, that's great, but there's a lot of risk with that because it doesn't quite yet produce anything. So I'm a big fan of stocks. I'm also in some crypto and I like crypto, but stocks is great because they're actually real businesses that actually produce something, right? So it's not just speculation, right? You can see, oh wow, Google is growing because they're making so much money. Wow, Meta, they made like 100 billion this year, right? It's like that's real money and you have part ownership and you get to participate in that growth. So, and it's all transparent and companies report these things, so you need to own these companies and be a part of that wealth generation, right? Okay, so this is it. This is me. I'm 31, no degree, no fallback, and no excuses. No one is coming to save you. That's a mindset that I've always had. No one's coming to save me. You have to put your own financial destiny into your own hands. The days of working a job and getting a safe, well-paying pension are gone. From high school to about 26 years old, I was a theater kid. So I was definitely not getting a pension, right? So basically, me being in theater for so many years, nobody prepared me for life. Nobody prepared me to think of, okay, like, what are you going to do for retirement? Oh, what are you going to do for money? Like, all I knew was I wanted to do theater. That's what I was doing back in the day. And yeah, and I'm so thankful that, when I found stocks and when I found the stock market, it was like, I don't know, it just clicked. I've always wanted to be successful at whatever I did. I always wanted to be really good at whatever I did. And I was pursuing theater at the time, which, as anybody knows, is not correlated with having any amount of money at all. So basically, the way I found stocks was I was driving Uber and doing theater, and I started finding videos on stocks. I think maybe somebody I drove told me about it. And I didn't really understand it, so I just went on YouTube University, just, looking up every video I could possibly, and just started to try to understand and got my feet wet and just started investing small amounts of money. But the thing that unlocked the most, and I think I also learned this by driving Uber as well, is that, like, if I wanted to make $100 in a day, I could just turn the app on and I can go and I can do it, right? That was great. And so something they don't really teach you is, like, when you work a job, right? If you don't have the hours, if you don't have the job, you don't make money, right? You're not really self-sufficient. I haven't worked a traditional job in, like, so long because I've always been self-employed, right? It's like you need to learn that you can put your own financial destiny in your own hands. You're not just at the mercy of a job, right? Which stands for just over broke, right? They pay you barely enough to survive, and then yeah, and then you can't even think about investing because it just doesn't pay enough. Now, if you have a job, that's great. I'm not dissing jobs, but what you need to do is not just have a job and be complacent and think that that job is just going to take care of you, right? Because they won't. They're just, the second you're gone, if you have to leave, they'll replace you, or they'll replace you if they need to. Like, they're not really looking out for you. You're only there because you're helping them produce, right? So you need to not be complacent and think, okay, I have a job and I'm good, right? It's like, that's not the world we live in. So we have to invest. We have to put some of our own financial destiny in our own hands and have that accountability, right? And that's something like, not a lot. I feel like there are a lot of people that think that way, but then there's like so many that don't, and they just don't get it. They just don't get it. And it's not their fault. It's that the school system hasn't prepared most people to be in the investing class, right? So yeah, the rich are getting richer, right? And the poor are getting poorer, not because it's because of the inflation and the gap between people who have assets that go up in value and the people that don't have assets get left behind. People are always complaining about these kind of things, but then they don't want to fix it, or if they know how to fix it, they won't take the action. Like, you need assets. You need assets. And we don't just want to complain about it. So I'm a fan of stocks. Again, not financial advice, just a random average guy. Okay, bonus tip. This one's extremely important. Don't tell a lot of people around you. They won't understand you, and you will drive yourself absolutely crazy. Right? You cannot tell people, even the closest people around you. Yeah, it's just hard because nobody will actually understand you. It's a very lonely path, and people do not want to take the risk. They don't want to take the risk. And then there's actually, I found that there's no really upside when you tell people about certain stocks. Let's say you're excited about something and you think it's a good opportunity. If they make money, you don't get rewarded. And if they lose money, they will just never listen to you again, and it'll kind of sour things with your relationship, right? So it's better not to tell people, really. And then you also when you tell people, you plant seeds of doubt. You plant seeds of doubt when you start telling people things, because their first reaction is to like protect you and say like, hey, don't do that, that's dangerous, don't be careful, like don't do anything dangerous or risky. Like, you have to do risky things in life to get better rewards, and and it's really an illusion of risk. It's not that risky when all the data is out there that in like basically any 20-year window, the stock market, like 100% of the time, virtually is up into the right, and just you made so much money, right? So the data is out there. It works. Like, we're not, like, this isn't like the 60s where there was no internet and you had no access to data. Like, we know it works. So yeah, so basically that's kind of my spiel. That's my spiel on basically building wealth, and I'm still in this journey. I'm still in this process, but hopefully I can help some other people that are also on the journey, and hopefully this helps shed some light on this topic. Now, if you want to join a group of like-minded investors, option sellers, traders, the link is going to be in the pinned comment. It's for the Option Hero community, where we primarily focus on option selling. We do live trading calls twice a week. We'll possibly grow that in the future, but it's a good time, very supportive community. And yeah, we learn a lot there, and learn a lot. We get to see other people's trades, see what's happening, talk about the market. It's a good time. So I want to invite you to hit that link in the pinned comment, join there. Would love to see you there. And yeah, let me know in the comments, you know, maybe if this video helped you out, or was, you know, if there was one thing that was insightful, please let me know which one that was. And yeah, would love to hear a comment. And then also, if it helped you, please like the video. So I really appreciate that. We'll see you in the next video. Appreciate it.